Bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue au video 6. So last week, I didn't do a video. I'll explain in French what happened. Donc, ce qui m'est arrivé, c'est que j'avais mal au dent. J'avais un dent, j'étais en train de manger des céréales et puis il y avait une dent là qui s'est cassée et j'avais du mal de parler. Donc c'est pour ça que je ne pouvais pas faire une leçon pour vous. Okay, so there I explained something that happened to me. I said qui m'est arrivé. So arrivé à quelqu'un can mean to happen to somebody. And what happened to me was concerning les dents, the mouth, and avoir du mal, to have pain or something goes wrong, to have bad really, avoir du mal aux dents, to the teeth. So if you said I have a headache, j'ai mal, so it's avoir mal, to have bad, to have pain. À la tête would be a headache, avoir mal à la tête, avoir mal aux dents. Hein? Mais heureusement, happily, fortunately, j'arrive à bien parler maintenant. I can now speak well, no problem. So, back to our lesson. Last time, I uploaded a video for you to watch. It was the Quelle histoire, a little story, what a story, or the history of Victor Hugo, un des grands écrivains de la littérature française. And if you looked at my website, you saw the film on there, hopefully, which was about 5-6 minutes long. And underneath it said, connaissez-vous la vie de cet écrivain célèbre qui nous a laissé un grand nombre de pièces de théâtre, de romans et de recueils de poésie? Qui est l'homme politique, le républicain engagé, forcé de s'exiler sous Napoléon III? Découvrez la vie d'un des monuments de la littérature française. So, do you know? So, because you're knowing, familiar with a person or a place, you would use connaître rather than savoir. Savoir-faire is an expression we use to know how to do. So we use savoir for je sais parler français, je sais jouer du piano. So I know how to speak French, I know how to play the piano. So that's to know how to do something, to know a fact. But connaître, as in connaissance, reconnaissance, is to be familiar with something. So, connaissez-vous la vie de cet écrivain célèbre? So you might know Victor Hugo, the name, the person, but this is saying, do you know la vie de, the life of, this écrivain célèbre, this writer, this famous writer, who left us? So, did you get the word for plays? Qui nous a laissé un grand nombre de pièces de théâtre. So a pièce, so you might have heard the word pièce as in a room. Une pièce is a room or une salle. But une pièce de théâtre is a piece of theatre, a play in fact. Okay. De roman, so roman, sometimes instead of écrivain, writer, they will call them romancier, novelist. So a roman, spelled Roman, is a novel. De roman et de recueils de poésie. Recueils de poésie are collections of poetry. And at the end of the lesson, I will read you one of Victor Hugo's poems, which will be uploaded for you to take off of the website as well. Okay? And then a couple of, a question about him. Who is, we might say who was, who is this political man? He was a Republican. He fought in a literary way. He didn't physically fight as a soldier, but he fought for society, and he was forced to s'exiler, so to exile himself. So exile spelt the same, but it's a reflexive verb because he had to exile himself sous Napoléon III, underneath the reign of Napoleon III. And then découvrir. Découvrir is to discover, so it's an instruction. Découvrez la vie, the life, d'un des monuments de la littérature française. And you may have seen on my website that I put up, it looked like a statue of Victor Hugo, just to say what a monumental figure he was in French society. Okay, so back to the listening comprehension I'd set you. It was on this little board, if you remember. So I picked out some milestones in Victor Hugo's life. So if we just go through the dates. So we've got 1802. How you would express that in French? I tend to do 1802 because I think it's a bit easier than saying 1800. So 1802. Some people might say 1800. So 100 is 100. So 18 is 18. 1802. Okay? But now that we're in the 2000, we'd be saying 2000 anyway, wouldn't we? We'd be saying 2020, 2020. The French don't say 2020. You'd have to say 2020. 2020, which is the year we're in now. So, but here we've got 1802. This is the date, so we can probably guess from this. I have got the answers on another board, but if we just go through here, then I'll show the answers afterwards, because there's a lot of writing on them. So we could say he was born on the 26th of February 1802. So using our verb to be born, it's naître, isn't it? And it's one of those verbs that takes être. Do you remember the handout I gave you with the little castle or the fortress with those 15 odd verbs that take être in the past? So, il est né, as in the carol, il est né, le divin enfant, he has been born. Huh? So, he has been born, il est né le 26 février, so that's easy, il est né le 26, so they always put le in front of the date. Le 26 février 1802. Okay. And then I said, what happened to him at these particular ages? À l'âge de 14 ans, à l'âge de 19 ans, à l'âge de 25 ans. So, à l'âge de 14 ans, this is where I'm going to need my answer board to show you. So, here it is. So, there was a little quote, something he said in the story. Apparently he said, Je serai Chateaubriand ou rien. So, je serai, you haven't seen this future tense, but you might know the Spanish song, que sera, sera, so the French is similar, what will be. So here it's, I will be, je serai Chateaubriand. You're thinking, oh, yes, Chateaubriand. So, Chateaubriand ou rien, Chateaubriand or nothing, he aspired to be Chateaubriand, who was the greatest writer of the time, okay? Donc, c'était l'un des écrivains les plus célèbres de l'époque. One of the greatest writers of the era. À l'âge de 19 ans, I've just got the verb mourir. So this is something very triste, something sad. And it was the fact that his mum died when he was 19 years old. So we've just said that he was born using naître in 1802. Now we need to use the verb mourir to express his mother dying. Now mourir is also a verb that takes être in its past, isn't it? As in naître, to be born, to die. Mourir takes être in its past. So she died in when he was 19 years old. So sa mère, his mother, sa mère, elle est morte quand il avait 19 ans. So she died, elle est morte, and we're adding the e to morte because she's feminine. Elle est morte quand il avait 19 ans, when he was 19 years old. And obviously we use avoir with age. Quand il avait, when he had 19 years old. Okay. The next one on this list was we'll stay on this board. À l'âge de 25 ans, qu'est-ce qui lui est arrivé? What happened to him? Donc, à l'âge de 25 ans, il a rencontré son amour Adèle. So, in 1822, he met and married Adèle, and then one of my questions on the board was enfant. So, enfant, they had, did you hear how many children they had? Quite a lot. 5 enfants. Donc, en 1822, il s'est marié avec Adèle. He married, you could say in the plural, ils se sont mariés, they got married. L'âge de 25 ans. Okay? And then I put a couple of other dates, 1830, 1833, and I've helped you there with the name Juliet. So if we go back to the answer board here. Okay, so this is the date he got married to Adèle. And it's se marier, reflexive. À l'âge de 25 ans, il a écrit, he wrote, Cromwell. Now, I wasn't particularly familiar with this, but this was a play. Do you remember what the word for a play was? A piece of theatre? Il a écrit une pièce de théâtre. And also, he was very at the fore of the movement for Romanticism, so the romantic literature. He wanted to leave behind classicism and la classique, and he wanted to promote the romantique, la littérature romantique, okay? And there's a little picture of a roman to express the sort of writing he was going to get into and have followers. As in the Impressionist movement, with the Impressionists, he was contre l'établissement, against the establishment, by promoting la littérature romantique. And he had followers like Gautier, they say, in the piece that you listen to, okay? And this is un de ses romans les plus célèbres, which was in 1831. I said, who's Esmeralda? So Esmeralda was la gitane, the gypsy, in the kind of like the love story with Quasimodo in Notre-Dame de Paris, which we call the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Now the Hunchback, there is a word for that, which is le bossu, but he didn't call it that. That wouldn't have sounded very attractive, perhaps. In French, he called it Notre-Dame de Paris, focused around the great cathedral of Notre Dame, which is where Esmeralda the Gypsy was befriended and loved by Quasimodo, the Hunchback. Okay, and then on my other last line on here before we turn over, en 1833, malheureusement, ils se sont séparés. Adele and Victor Hugo separated. Well, actually, he was still kind of married to her, but il a rencontré l'actrice qui s'appelle Juliette. So Juliette, he met the actress Juliette. So it was like an affaire d'amour. So they had an affair. It was his mistress, really. But I think he actually did stay with Adele, but met Juliette. So turning over au verso on the back of our board now. We had this long period. So between 1829, 1848, this is where his Republican stance came in. He was against some things in society, such as la peine de mort. Il était contre la peine de mort. So the death penalty, the penalty of death. So he fought against that, basically. Okay. So this was our question board. I sent you the comprehension board. So that was during this period. He also did lots of writing and things. And then I put this little image here of something très triste, tragique, qui s'est passé en 1843. And this is where my poem will come into you. So at that date, en 43, une de ses filles, sa fille préférée, sa fille favorite, his favourite daughter, Léopoldine, elle s'est noyée. Se noyer is to drown. So this is tragic. So his daughter drowned. Léopoldine, sa fille favorite, elle s'est noyée. She drowned. And he then wrote this recueil de poésie, this collection of poems called Contemplation, Poésie. And this is one that I have to read out to you a bit later on. Okay? And then this next period, so it was going very well for him with the succès de sa littérature, the success of his literature, his writings. But sad things were happening, obviously tragedy, losing his daughter. And in this period, it was a very difficult time for him. 1851 jusqu'à 1870. So in that period, quite a lot going on. There was un coup d'état. Un coup d'état, this is a famous expression. Un coup is a strike or a blow or a hit of the state. So it was we use that expression, un coup d'état. So it was an uprising, really, and it was led by Napoleon III. And I've written for you, he was the neveu de Napoleon Bonaparte, so the nephew of Napoleon. Another lot of trouble coming. And Victor Hugo, at the time, because he was seen as a danger contre l'établissement, he wasn't going to knuckle down and settle under this rule, this reign. He was a danger to the establishment. Il s'enfuit. Sa vie était en danger. His life was in danger. So he fled, s'enfuir, s'enfuit. I want to draw your attention to this because this is in the present tense, and you might have noticed in the narration of his life they use the present tense. And this is a feature of French, that when they describe a story or the past of somebody's life, they'll often put it in the present tense. So Victor Hugo flees, he marries Adele, he meets Juliet the actress, he writes Notre Dame de Paris, he flees away to, these are supposed to be the islands where he goes, Jersey and Guernsey. And that's all brought into the present tense to make it very exciting and real and happening now. So although we've been talking about the imperfect, he did this, he used to do this, he was doing this, in the narration of the story, they put it in the present tense. So Victor Hugo s'enfuit, flees to aux îles de Guernsey et Jersey. He ends up living on Guernsey for a while. And this, then he writes many, many works. Les œuvres. Les œuvres, we said they were romans, pièces de théâtre, poésie, novels, plays, poetry, which comes under the umbrella of œuvres, works. Okay? 1862. So he wrote a great deal. And it was only in 1870, how would you say that? 1870, 1610, 70. Il retourne, so we could bring up that thing of the present tense. He returns to France. Il retourne en France, or really, if we were doing it correctly in the past tense, il est retourné, because retourner is a verb that takes it. Il est retourné en France. So it was safe for him to go back to France. Okay. Going back to this board, any other things I put about his life? So then I just said 1870. Well, we've just said 1870. Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? What happened? Il est retourné en France. He was able to go back to France. À l'âge de 80 ans. So we've looked at the milestones in his life at 14 years. 14 was when he aspired to be a great writer, and he obviously becomes that. 19 years his mum dies. 25 years he writes the play Cromwell, doesn't he? And then at the age of 80, something really important happens. We put it in the present tense for the purposes of this story, which is recounted in present. Il habite au 16e arrondissement à Paris, et l'établissement, le pays, nomme l'avenue où il habite, Avenue Victor Hugo. So they name his avenue where he lives, Victor Hugo Avenue. And if you go across France, particularly Paris, you'll see lots of streets or roads or avenues named after great people. So you have Boulevard Haussmann, for example. Then you've got Avenue Victor Hugo. So to be given his own name of an avenue at the age of 80, when he is alive, is a tremendous honour for him. So that is what happened then. And then the last one here on this date was 1885. So le 22 mai en 1885. So mourir à l'âge de 83 ans. So he had a long life. Die, so il est mort. Il est mort. So before we said his mum, elle est morte. We had to add the E because it's feminine. But here, il est mort à l'âge de 83 ans. So he was born in 1802 and he died in 1885 at 83 years old. So a very long life and a very, very large output of work. And what I'm going to put onto the website for you is this poem. I'm going to read it for you to finish. So we've got Victor Hugo, demain dès l'aube. Tomorrow from dawn. Day, like this with the grave accent over the E, means from the moment of. L'aube is dawn. So you're used to seeing day, which means some, aren't you? Des pommes, des stylos, des oranges. Day is some. But here it means from, because it's got that accent on it. So I'll just read this out for you and I'll leave it with you and I'll leave it on the website. Our first poem is from Victor Hugo, one of the best known French writers. Well, we know how to say that in French, don't we? One of the best known French writers. Un des écrivains français les plus célèbres. So one of the writers French, the most famous. So the most famous goes after the noun. Un des écrivains, one of the writers français, des plus célèbres, the most famous. Okay? Demain dès l'aube, which means tomorrow at dawn, is a short and poignant poem about his visit to his daughter's grave. The poem was first released in 1856, 1856, in Hugo's collection called Les Contemplations. So the collection was Recueil des Poésies, remember? So the poem. Demain dès l'aube, à l'heure où blanchit la campagne, je partirai. Vois-tu, je sais que tu m'attends. J'irai par la forêt, j'irai par la montagne. Je ne puis demeurer loin de toi plus longtemps. Je marcherai les yeux fixés sur mes pensées, sans rien voir au dehors, sans entendre aucun bruit, seul, inconnu, le dos courbé, les mains croisées. Triste, et le jour pour moi sera comme la nuit. Je ne regarderai ni l'or du soir qui tombe, ni les voiles au loin descendant vers Harfleur. Et quand j'arriverai, je mettrai sur ta tombe un bouquet de doux verts et de bruyères en fleurs. So, that's the poem. I'll leave it with you. Et passez une très bonne semaine. À la prochaine.